When I was 15 years old, I kind of had this harebrained idea that I just wanted to go out and run. I remember there was one summer that I was running 10 miles in the morning and 10 miles at night. And I really didn't think a whole lot about it. It just was a drive in me that I just wanted to run and just run for fun. And I would just take off and I would go hours and just wouldn't even really pay attention to the mileage or distance or speed or anybody else. I just kind of went. I actually got into my first marathon because I was dared. I was told I couldn't do it. So I did. Well, after that, I just kind of started doing as many as I could, and it was just kind of my thing. I had heel spurs after 18 marathons, and doctors at that point told me, you will never run again. But that's not the way I'm wired. So I like to defy the odds. When I did my 81st marathon, it was the 6th one within 6 months. And I had never done that before. I was feeling great at the time, so I did 6 within 6 months. And after 81, I had a problem. I had multiple injuries, as it turned out, that were just compounded. When I was at my wit's end and getting worse by the day, this friend of mine, she was a PT and she would come to classes at Exos, said, why don't you call and see if you can get in? And initially I was honestly kind of scared to go because I didn't know what I would be told. I said, I have done 81 marathons and I'm in a world of hurt right now, and I have the Chicago Marathon in 3 months and I'm gonna run.
When Carol walked in, she was shuffling. It would be the best way to put it. The first time I remember seeing her walk in was more of a shuffle. Not a lot of knee bend, not a lot of things that we look for in a normal gait. So when she came to us being a runner of marathons, making it 26 miles, and barely seeing her walk through the facility was kind of a shock. So yeah, she came in a rough spot.
I was scared to death. I was nervous. I was afraid they would tell me I couldn't ever run again, which to me was just beyond devastating. After I left Exos after that first time, I was a completely different person. I walked out of there smiling. I was limping. I was still in a ton of pain, but I had hope. And that was the first glimmer of anything that I had had in months. And so that's what kept me going.
Carol is amazing. From day one, you knew what her goals were. She was a little bit defeated, but that never stopped her from her drive. So she was never one to complain. She never missed a PT appointment. She never missed any training appointment. And she was continuously out doing what we asked. So all of her home exercise program, following our protocols for return to running. And she bought in and was there every day.
I can't say enough good things about the PT department and the way they treated me. They took me in and they did an evaluation, and manipulation and needling and cupping and the ultrasound machine and scraping and all that fun stuff. That was usually the first part of the visit, and then they would have me do movement prep. And he was always really good about making sure that the manipulation part of it, but then getting me out there and getting me working as fast as I could.
General manual therapy, some other techniques that we use worked well for Carol in the beginning, and that was great success. And as we progressed through her training, she got stronger, she started running more, returning to marathons. Those same techniques that are a little more superficial didn't quite have the same effect that they had early on. So what we did was we attempted dry needling, and that seemed to be kind of a game changer for her. She really responded well to it, and so we made that a part of her plan, and that was something that got her through those days of longer runs or higher strength training and the recovery aspect.
When I ran my first marathon after getting treatment, I was scared to death because I knew that I had overcome so much in a short span of time. It was only 3 months. I finished the Chicago Marathon completely pain-free for 26.2 miles. And I've been completely pain-free every marathon ever since. I did 95 3 weeks ago.
So maintenance now with Carol is pretty straightforward. We got a nice little plan laid out for her. She understands what her running protocol is, as well as how strength fits in between. And prior to races, she'll contact us and come in for maintenance, make sure that everything is set from footwear all the way up to alignment to how she's feeling, and if she has any questions on, based on the race changing. She's self-sufficient now, which is what we ultimately look for here, is being able to empower each individual, both elite athletes as well as general population, to be able to do this on their own at home and make the adjustments on their own. I don't see Carol stopping. Carol won't stop.
There is nothing, one of the greatest thrills in running is obviously crossing the finish line. So I always tease that the last 0.2 of the marathon is the hardest, because usually you can see that line and you can't get there fast enough. And just the adrenaline that rushes through you there's nothing like it. I bawled through many a finish line. My whole goal used to be all about qualifying for Boston. I missed it by 3 to 8 minutes 10 different times. Those were hard finish lines, because I would lay in bed that night and analyze every single mile and how many seconds I was off. And those were hard finish lines. But the best finish lines literally have been since '82, because knowing that, there's obviously knee damage and that won't go away. So definitely the finish lines from '82 on are the most precious, and the ones that I've had to work the hardest for, but are definitely ones that mean the most. Because when you overcome something that odds have been against you, there's nothing like it.